Good morning, UPBOptionMillionaires.com. It is Monday, September 8, 2014, and stock futures are off their record levels that they closed out on Friday. A lot of it has to do with this. Does the dollar pound cross? The pound has been getting hit overnight, down over 200 pips, which is a pretty big move these days. Those are moves we used to see on a daily basis 3 or 4 years ago after the financial crisis. Now 200 pips and the world is coming to an end. You can see all the bears come on Twitter last night when futures were down a little bit, doing their cheerleading and their cartwheels. And here we are, we're coming off our lows this morning. So there's a referendum vote over in the UK, and the Scottish, much like in Braveheart when they were led by the fearful William Wallace. You can take away our financial through asset price manipulation, but you can't take away our freedom. That's what I hear in my head, my little tiny head. But let's look, S&P 500 futures. This was Friday's close, the gap down to open. Overnight last night, we just melted low. We're down 0.2%, just about 0.2%. Wow. Yeah, that's terrible. 0.2%. That's like a fly in the in Lake Erie. Nonetheless, you can see this little candle here that we had on Friday. Nice reversal in the jobs report, or lack thereof. It seems the less jobs we have, the higher the market goes. But you can look each of the rallies, and I've talked about this Abenomics low trend line for quite a bit, especially recently when we hit our lows. And I said once we were oversold, as we were in previous times along this trend line, we've rallied significantly. And look at the rally we had. Beautiful. Perfection. Now we're back up here along the top end of this channel. But something to keep in mind is each of the rallies off this oversold condition, we were relieved overbought conditions and then continued higher. You can see we have these four, and we're only at the first one here where we've been relieving these overbought conditions. So the point I'm trying to make is we could be still at the brink of continuing higher, or higher prices, new record levels, and just something to keep in mind. Let's look at individual names, because I like Google, especially this week, that I don't have as many options as I did last week, so that's going to help us. But if you look at a 2-year daily chart, I have the 60250s I bought. I had the 595s last week. I also had some 60250s that expired at 0.00. But it was a good week with Google overall. Could have been a lot better if it moved over that $600 level like I thought it would. But if you look from the long-term perspective, I still love this pattern. A nice cup and handle continuation pattern that's going to send the stock over $600, possibly as soon as today. We have another analyst putting it on its buy me list this morning. Let's look at some other charts. ESI, I continue to like this stock. A stock nobody really talks about anymore other than when it drops 20%, which it did recently. And as I brought up, it's over $100 stock previously. It's trading down at $8.33, up over 5% on Friday for a reason, because there's a good chance it could continue down the path of cocoa and go to zero, or it could see a snapback rally, and that's what I'm hoping for. I'm in the calls. I know hope is not an investment strategy, but when a stock is beaten down 98.35% and has a 65% short interest, I'm hoping for a reversal. Come on, baby. Let's go to CRR. It's another chart I like, right at support. And you can see it's a volatile stock in the past. Once we hit support here, and this is a weekly chart, if I pull in I like saying it, little closer, right off of support. Look at this, beautiful. We're starting to cup up. I'm looking for a short-term move up to 110. I got the 105 calls, so that would do me nicely. Let's move to FUIE. Upgraded this morning. I was in the $32 calls briefly. Last week, we had the nice pullback from its highs off its bottom. I called this bottom. I put a nice little arrow up on the blog. I think it's going to head up to this level up here, the former resistance support level. And right now we're at 32. I think we're up at about this level pre-market. Let me see. We're at 32.70. So we closed, we're up $1, which is over 3% start to the session. Of course, the session hasn't started. We're about 2 hours and a half before the market is going to open. And I still like fuel, which also pulled back. Fuel is at support, rallied up the last couple trading days. It pulled back a little bit to 16. I like this gap to get filled. That was the earnings report collapse. TLT's in a tough spot here. And I pointed this out. I got into the puts last Friday, not this past Friday, the Friday before that. the 119s, and we closed a week at 115.73. So those 119s were worth $3.27. I got them at 80. Of course, I sold out a little too soon. We had a nice bounce here in the middle of the week, but we continue to go to the downside. And so there's a good chance we'll probably come back to this 110.50, 11 level, 111 level before we bounce. And if you look in a long-term chart there, go back a little farther, and you can see what I'm talking about here. We had a fail. Well, I wouldn't say the head and shoulders pattern completely failed. We came down just about the $100 level, and we've rallied ever since. That rally really started with the taper. The taper. Everybody thought the taper was going to take bonds even lower, and interest rates were going to start to rise. No, the exact opposite has happened. So we've come up against a double top here. So I'm looking at support here at the former resistance line that we've broken through recently. The break of this resistance line sent us up here, and now the support is probably going to hold right at that level. So that's TLT. How about Apple? Remember back in May of last year, I was talking about this nice W bottom. And look at this, record prices, and then, we had the Samsung launch, and we've got this week, Tuesday, the big event. People are already lining up for it. Turns out Apple's just going to be giving out free hot dogs that day. No, I'm just kidding. That's not even funny. But anyway, you know how these markets work. You take the stairs up and the elevator down. But you're seeing a nice reversal here. Got at support towards the end of last week, and we'll see if this event gets us back over $100. Apple is already up pre-market. It's at 99.38, so it's up 46 cents from the close on Friday. Netflix hit a new record high last week, and you see it's consolidating. Certainly, this could be over $500 by the end of this week. So we'll see. Volatility is pretty low on the stock, considering the fact it's been stuck in a $15 range, which is pretty boring for Netflix. So I'll be getting some $500 calls probably as the week progresses. Hopefully this trend of consolidation continues until about Wednesday. That's my plan. Then I'll get into the Netflix $500 calls, and we'll take it to the promised land. How about Priceline's been falling? Analysts downgrading the stock. Somebody asked me in the chat room about this last week, and I said supports at about the 1110 level. And you can see why. Come on. There we go. So you can see this support line right here at about the 1110 level, with a lot of room to go down, and then we'd be stuck in this channel. We'll see if that's what happens. A lot of people are probably going to be trying to scoop up on the dip here, and it might not be a bad idea short term. Short term, I sound like somebody from Massachusetts. But if you look, support, you can bring a trend line. Short term support over here. Yeah, Captain. Yeah, Captain. There was a movie from Boston. Who was it? Mark Wahlberg. Yeah, I like to talk like that. Hey, you got some sausage and some eggs? I don't know. I don't even know where that came from. So we got support here short term, and maybe we'll get back up to this line before falling to 1110. We'll see. We'll see. Only time will tell. Again, I don't like trading Priceline at the start of the week. I actually bought some calls for the reversal on Friday, and guess what? It didn't happen. I got the 1,200 calls. We almost got back up there, but didn't happen. Let's look at Whole Foods. I like this one. It's down a little bit pre-market, but another stock that's over. This is a 2-year chart that is looking like it's going to come back up to fill the gap down for earnings from almost a $50 level. I like it. I like it a lot. So I'm not in any calls yet for Whole Foods. I've traded it a couple times this summer for upside. We got over the $40 level recently. But aside from that, I'm just looking for a good entry. Twitter, after the lockup debacle, when it dropped from $39 down to under 30 briefly, looks really strong here. This is the earnings pop. Came back, and we're looking at $60, $65, possibly by the end of the month. Facebook as well, new record highs last week, just in literally uncharted territory as this stock looks to, triple digits. Could you imagine that? Crazy. It was only 2-3 years ago when Barron's had Facebook on their front page talking about how it was going to be a $14 stock. Maybe after a 2-for-1 forward split, actually it'd be more than that. Once it hits 100, yeah. Oh my goodness. It's early. Have another cup of coffee. How about Boeing? I've been talking about Boeing for since the lows back at the start of August, so a little over a month. And the reason I like Boeing is because if the chart ever pulls up, it was at support here, and I thought it was going to head to 130. Came ever so close, 129.13. Pulled back here, which is healthy. You don't want to see it do the $12 move all in one shot. Come back, and then get a little more people aboard that Boeing 857, if they even make those. They don't. but looking for the stock to head back up to the 140 level, probably before the end of the year. And there was a piece in Barron's talking about another 20-25% to the upside. So do the math there, folks. That is about another $30 to the upside. So that'd be 154.69, which would take us to new record levels on Boeing. Finally, let's go to Yahoo. We have Alibaba. Alibaba, the IPO. A lot of people think the Alibaba IPO is going to drag everything else down because there's going to be a rush to raise all this capital to buy Alibaba. I don't think so. I think Alibaba is actually bullish for the market. But you've got another company coming in that's valued in the hundreds of billions. So think about that. You're adding another couple hundred billion of market cap to the equity market. Whatever. Hey, what do I know? Nonetheless, Yahoo is over the $40 level. It looks like it's going to break out over the high, hit it, make a new 52-week high. So that's Yahoo. I'll let you know what else I get into in the chat room via private Twitter at optionmillionaires.com, my Twitter account. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Have a happy Monday. Stock futures are they're starting to rally, folks. Here we go. Here we go. I wonder if any of the bears who went short the market precisely at the top after the market closed and their broker was at the bar is covering now before the market opened 2 hours before. Yeah, it's magic, isn't it? All right, PBE, I'm all in long. I'm just kidding. Talked about it last week. Anyone who goes all in on any kind of trade shouldn't be trading, okay? And let alone be writing or going on TV. This is not a casino, folks. This is real money, real lives, real people. All right, UPB here. Everyone have a great trading day. I'll see you in the chat room at optionmillionaires.com. Goodbye.